All the ingredients for our garlic parmesan, which we refer to as our house dressing, very simply measured out. I like to put all of my liquids together except for the oils. So I have 6 cups of red wine vinegar, 6 cups of water, and 2 cups of balsamic vinegar that have been measured out into this pitcher here. I have my salt and pepper, my powder ground mustard. We love to use Coleman's mustard instead of a knockoff U.S. food label. A lot better flavor. You're going to get a much better result by buying a good quality Coleman's powdered mustard. Pasteurized egg yolks, Parmesan cheese. The garlic in the recipe is half fresh garlic and half roasted garlic, 6 ounces of each. So what I've done is taken a small skillet. I roasted 6 ounces of cloves of garlic in a skillet in a little bit of olive oil on the stove, cooled it down, put it in the Roboku with the 6 ounces of fresh garlic to make my roasted garlic and fresh garlic puree. 1 gallon of 75-25 oil and 5 gallons of corn oil. We're going to go over to the Hobart and show you the procedure to put this together, how to properly emulsify the dressing. So we're coming back to our house dressing. I started with my 4 cups of pasteurized egg yolks, and I've been whipping them for about 10 minutes. You can see they've gotten very thick, very ribbony. I have my vinegar and water mixture. I'm going to add slowly to this just to thin it out a little bit. And I'm going to slowly start to emulsify in my oil. Best way to emulsify the oil in is I take my jug, I'll remove the foil seal from it. I'm going to take it, make a little hole in it. Then I can set it on the side of the mixer, and it's going to slowly let a nice thin steady stream leak right into the dressing for me. So as this oil slowly emulsifies itself into those egg yolks, it's going to get thicker and thicker. So every couple seconds I need to come by with a little bit of vinegar and water solution just to thin it down so that it doesn't break. It's a nice thin mixture now. As more oil gets whipped into it, it's going to get thicker and thicker. As you can see, when you unscrew the cap, it controls the flow of oil. When I screw the cap all the way closed tight, it allows a very small amount of oil. When I loosen the cap, it increases the flow of oil. I'm starting out on speed 3 right now. Speed 3 is a good amount when there's a small amount of liquid in there. As this starts to get fuller, it'll start to splash it around. So I'm going to have to go down to speed 2, and I'll just make a little bit of a smaller hole because the mixer will be going a little bit slower. It can't emulsify the oil as quickly. Back to our house dressing. I switched now to our corn oil after the 75-25 oil went in. Again, I just put a small little hole in the bottom. I can control it by turning this cap. As I tighten it all the way or loosen it all the way, you can see the flow of oil. I just want to create a nice thin, steady stream. Make sure that it's over the mixer. Very simple. This is going to take quite a bit for this 2.5 gallons of corn oil to go in. I've got one more behind that. All of our oil has finally been added to this. We'll go ahead with our last little addition of this vinegar and water solution. But I want to slowly add it again, just like I would the oil. It's going to gradually thin this dressing down. But it's a very, very volatile dressing. It has a tendency to break if you don't slowly pour your liquids into it, just like anything, a hollandaise or a beurre blanc. Got my roasted garlic with the powdered mustard and the salt and pepper. What I want to do is make sure I add that mustard. Mustard has a tendency to clump. So when I go ahead and add it with the salt and pepper, it's going to allow that mustard to break up. The salt will cut it, so you won't end up with any clumps. So when I just dry blend that together, it's going to be a lot easier now when I go ahead and add this, and I won't have any clumps of mustard. So a little precaution to take. See how I'm slowly sifting these in? Little bits of garlic at a time too. I don't want to just throw it all in at once. The last ingredient would be Parmesan cheese. All the ingredients are in. I'm just going to turn it down to speed 1, keep it mixing. I'm going to go get some tasting spoons. We'll do a final seasoning on it. Final taste test. The dressings, when it's warm, it's going to be a little bit thinner, so don't be worried about that. As it gets cold and the oils get cold, it will definitely coagulate and get thicker. Good balanced blend of flavors. Very strong flavored right now. I get a lot of salt, I get a lot of pepper, the Parmesan cheese, but as it gets cold, they start to lose their flavor. So things, when they're in their state like now at room temperature, should always be a little bit more highly seasoned than when items are cold. When items are cold, the salt and the flavors don't come through quite as much. So it seems a little bit intense right now, but it'll definitely mellow out once it's chilled. Garlic Parmesan, as we refer to our house dressing.